identify different markets. We've been able to identify different markets that they never thought were potential clients for them. And along the way, helping them come up with sometimes a different logo, a different culture, and what their brand is, we've been able to identify markets that they never intended on marketing to, and it opened up a whole new avenue of customers and clients for their company. And sometimes all that takes is someone else to come in a different perspective, and that's what I do.
Awesome. And I think I'll just flash up real quick, just so people can see. Bam! Look at that, baby.
There it is.
Just so you can kind of see that. The grass may be greener on the other side, but you still have to cut it. And I think one of the things that you just mentioned is so key to success in general in business and entrepreneurship, and that is the whole concept of mentorship and coaching, consulting, if you will, whatever tag you want to put on it. And that is that your hindsight is becoming somebody else's foresight. And what I mean by that is you've been there, done that. So if I'm going to follow you, if I'm going to be in the car behind you and we're driving to your house right now and you get ahead of me and I get stuck at a red light and you see on, Fifth Avenue or whatever that there's a police officer, you might text me safely, of course, right? When you're changing lanes, you got to be safe. But you may text or call and say, hey, bud, just so you know, dude, on Fifth Avenue, there's a cop with a radar gun. Just be aware of it, And I would probably slow down if I were intelligent so that I didn't get a ticket. And you see what happens in life and business is we get caught up in everything we have to do. There's so much that we need to do in order to create a successful business, and we get lost. We create our own blind spots, and we can't see what we don't know. So you're an expert at coming in saying, hey, Lane Horace, Changing Lanes International, or whatever the company is, do you guys understand that you're missing out on an entire new stream of income that maybe you're not thinking about? As an example, you've already messaged me a couple of times over the last few days, like, hey, I've got this guy in Canada, he wants to be maybe do something with us because of this book. And I'm like, okay, well, sure. The answer is always yes, if it makes sense for all of us to win. And so you've already done that for us. And one thing that I really appreciate you for, and I don't even think I told you personally, is when we actually had our initial enrollment call with you to be in the book, we were, if I remember, we were kind of hungry to get the sale, at some level, because we all want new clients because we know the value we can provide for them. And one of the first things you kind of said was like, hey guys, slow down for a second, get to know me a little bit. You can't jump into bed with me unless we've dated, type of thing, And it really hit home with me at the time because I thought I was good at that. And I do believe that I am, but it takes hearing it to have the awareness, because awareness is the first key in order to make a change. So I appreciate you for doing that. Thank you for, kind of opening up our mind to some things. And so if we can, let's go back to a couple different things. One thing that I think you and Horace have in common is a common mentor that you guys look up to and aspire to, who's also a big basketball fan, Gary V. And so just share, when I interviewed you for the actual book, for your chapter, you talked about two passions that you have, and you had two different stories that I thought were really, really cool. One was basketball, and some of the things and techniques that maybe you've applied to your business from sports, because there's a lot of commonality there. And then the second would be music, and the story you told about kind of sitting next to your family and getting an elbow, a nudge to say, hey, dude, go shine, and you being very nervous, but you took it. And I think that that's played a big part in your life, if I remember. So do you want to share some of that stuff for the audience?
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad you didn't mention Michael Jordan, even though I just mentioned it, because that is like the worst thing that you can mention to Gary Vaynerchuk. But yeah, Gary is a big mentor of mine. I owe a lot of credit and a lot of things that I've learned online about social media marketing and understanding. And a lot of the things that he says I agree with and have used and have given over to my clients and peers and friends also. In the book, I mentioned something that he really has been pumping, and Horace, I know you know all about this, is self-awareness. And on some level, I've always been, I guess, aware of the self-awareness title of really looking at yourself in the mirror. But once I started hearing Gary mentioning self-awareness, I actually started. What is that? That's the mirror.
You're looking at yourself in the mirror, baby.
I've actually thought about it, and I identified, and we did it really in an interview, and it wasn't something that I had planned to talk about. It just came out, is that I look back at my history, and you mentioned basketball and singing. I thought I was going to be the next Michael Jordan. I was going to be the Jewish Jordan, and I was going to make it. We all have dreams. I actually was very good at basketball. I had, 10 seconds worth of hang time. I was able to dunk even at 5'8" on a 9.5-foot basket. And it was something that I really enjoyed. But one of the things that I hated, Lane and Horace, is that I hated the spotlight. As soon as I did something really cool, my head went down and just ran across the court because I didn't want to, react to all the woo, awesome, that's a great move. Just because I just didn't. That's one thing that I hate in character is pompous and people that are haughty. It's something that I think is a fakeness, and you could tell someone who is genuine or not. And I just didn't want to have that spotlight on me and make me feel like, oh my gosh, like I'm really good, and that's going to become something. But then I actually took that self-awareness and I realized, you know what, I'll just take it and used it to my benefit to help other people play the game, and it made me enjoy it also. The other thing you brought up about singing that I mentioned in the book, I used to sit with my dad, who's not around anymore, for the high holidays. And I used to sit next to where the cantor used to lead the services. And I used to hum. And I used to sing. This is about 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. I used to sing harmony. And so one time, a friend of the family that you brought up just now, Lane, screamed out, "Grossbard, get up there and help him." And I actually looked at my dad. I was probably 14 years old. And he said, "Yeah, go up." And I actually went up in front of the entire congregation and stood next to the guy leading the services. And I sang with him. And that continued for 3 or 4 years. I always sang a lot at home. And to this day, if that didn't happen, I don't think I ever would have had the confidence to do what I do now for 20 plus years, leading my own congregation. And I've done it in Savannah. I've been in Norfolk, Virginia, in different places in Florida, and I've been for the last 10 years in the same congregation in Miami Beach. And I absolutely love it. And I love it because it was a gift that I was given, something that's in my DNA. And without being self-aware of having that gift and having those talents and using it as a benefit in such a way to give back to the community, I don't think I ever would have, been able to do that. And it's part of me, and it always will be. And I don't want the day to come that I'm not able to, God forbid, to be able to do that. So thanks for bringing up that part of the book also, Lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's funny, Elliot, I remember a story about Michael Jordan. There was actually the center at one point during Jordan's career who was interviewed when he was all done with his career. And they interviewed him and they said, "Hey, dude, you got to play with the best of the best in the entire world. What did that mean to you? What was one of your best memories?" And he looks at the camera, thinks for a second, and he said, "You know what? I think it was the day that Michael Jordan and I scored 70 points together." Now, Michael Jordan scored 69. He hit one free throw, late in the game, coming off the bench. And I think it's funny because that is the idea that I think about when I talk about collaboration. It's you don't have to do everything in order to get some of the limelight. There's assist players that made Michael Jordan the best that he is, and without Rodman, without Steve Kerr, and without some of these Horace Grant, even some of these guys, like, yes, he was the best of the best, but it wasn't an individual sport. And you look at all the stuff happening with KD right now, and all these guys. The reality is that if you are as good as you are, the goal is to play as well as you can, and then what these guys do better than anybody, LeBron specifically, it comes to mind, is they raise the level of everybody else through the expectation. As much as I hate the Patriots, Tom Brady's an expert at that, right? It's because they have this level of expectation in themselves, and the things that they do, everybody else is watching. I read Tom Brady's diet one time, and it's like, dude, the dude doesn't eat anything poor. And you kind of, you look at him on camera on Sundays or Mondays or Thursdays, whatever. You're like, man, that guy is just lucky he's got a hot wife or whatever, yada, yada. And the reality is, like, we don't see what people do behind the scenes 24/6 or 24/7. And that's, I think, the key to a lot of people's success. So all the things that you've done have led you to where you are, and all the people that you have helped have given you the credibility to go out there and do what you do with these particular companies. And so we value and appreciate you for the contribution you've done to this, and you're making the book a way better collaboration because of your contribution. So, we've got about 12, 13 minutes left. I want to kind of turn it over to you, and just if there's anything specific that you want to share, key thoughts, messages, things that have happened recently since we actually did the interview with you. Is there anything that's on the forefront of your mind that you want to focus on for a little bit to make sure that the audience can get to know you a little bit better, and maybe some of the things that you can do for them?
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, Horace, how do you think Gary is going to love hearing Tom Brady and Michael Jordan all in the same conversation? I don't think
I'll throw in
very well. But
I'll throw in the New York Jets. Gary, if you're watching, the New York Jets are good.
Well, I'll tell you this. One of the things
No Giants.
that I mentioned in my chapter of the book, guys, is I put out there, and it really is a segue from the self-awareness is that find what you're good at. Make a list. On one side of the list, put down, and I just did this recently a couple of weeks ago with a very close friend of mine that was looking for a shift, very successful at the industry that he's in. He's looking for doing something different. He just got bored of the industry, and he wants to do something different. And he doesn't know what he wants to do. And I said, listen, why don't you make a list? On one side of the list, put down all the things that you're good at. On the other side of the list, put down all the things that you enjoy doing. The majority of both of those sides of the list are going to mesh. They're going to equal out. They're going to be parallel. They're going to be parallel. So therefore, yes, it's a blessing to enjoy what you do. If you're good at what you do and you enjoy doing it at the same time. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. A lot of people that are accountants are doing it for the paycheck. A lot of people that are attorneys and lawyers, they may have started out really wanting to become an attorney and wanting to become a lawyer, but once they're in the legal field, I mean, that's what's bringing in the money. They're putting food on the table. But if you ask them, is this really what you enjoy doing? The answer could be no. And I think a lot of people are frustrated of not doing what they love doing. So I said, put that list down together and then, see which ones are parallel on both sides. And that's a start. So if you're putting down that you enjoy fishing and you're good at fishing, well, maybe you should look into something to do with the fishing industry. If you enjoy meeting people and putting business deals together and you've had some success at it, even though that wasn't your focus or what your business is, you didn't get compensated from it, maybe look at something like that. If you're good at construction, but at the same time you don't enjoy getting dirty, that might not be the place that you want to go. So I put in the book, actually, I put in an area for people to fill it out and they could tweet it out to me so I can get some interaction with them also, is that just take some time, put some, earbuds on, put some tunes in, and just sit back and really self-reflect. No one else in the room. It's just you, yourself, and just be real with yourself. And that's something that I think would be beneficial to a lot of people out there, even people that are successful. Going back to the question that you asked about what disruptive sales is all about, aside from companies that are existing that are stuck, I'm also mentoring and advising some startups that are looking to get their story out there. There's a couple of startups here based in Miami through Mentor Day, which is a great organization. You just volunteer your time to mentor some people that are looking for some help in certain areas. And I was there to talk about sales and marketing. And some of them have great ideas. Some have great products, but they don't know how to get that message out. So that's something that I've been able to really do is ask the right questions, dig deep, and pull out what that real story is. And by doing that, that is your story. That is your pitch. So I'm working with some non-established companies, either on a contingency basis or also, just advising them. Some of them if they take off, I have some equity in it. And it's exciting to work with people because, yes, you did mention earlier I have my own startup, but I'm actually getting more excited about helping and working with other people and their startups above and beyond working on my own startups. And because you can work on, talk and work with 20 different startups and help them all the way instead of just working on your own. Call me crazy, but that's just, that's what gets me going. And that's what I'm excited about and what I'm good at. So that's what I'm concentrating on doing with disruptive sales.
Very cool. And I think it's awesome when you can get to a point where it's more about the other people than you. And I think it's a progression just, biologically as a man too, and the progression of that growth, but it's also the emotional intelligence and the maturation that we have. So when I got this first book in the mail, Changing Lanes, like it was so revolutionary that I like almost peed my pants, seeing it for the first time. And, because it was all about me and, oh, look, my name's on the cover of a book. And, not to say that's not cool. And there's a lot of aspiring authors out there that want to do that, but when I got this third book in the mail, which is the one we're working on now, the concept that we created in this is so much more exciting. We didn't even put my name on it. It's not about that. And Horace has really encouraged me with our company to take away from us and really make it more about the brand and the company and the people behind it. Our teams that are not featured here that help us, and then you guys, all of our clients. And that's why, Changing Lanes International is the author of the book because of that reason. And so that is so important for everybody. And it's a balance, I think. It's a balance because you're right. Even though you didn't want to be the spotlight after you scored or juked somebody and, made the game-winning shots, it's still important because you played an important role in that win. And so it's the humility, I think, behind the accomplishments. And one thing that I said when I spoke at Harvard is it's not about the accomplishments, it's how we live in the accomplishments that's more important and really define who we are, And so what else can we learn from you, Elliot? What is there that you want to share in the next 5 minutes, personal level, professional level, any key nuggets as a lane changer that you can impart to the people that are going to be watching this either right now live that are on it, or people that are going to watch the replay at some point and they're looking at you and saying, man, this is somebody I might want to do business with?
I'll tell you this. First of all, you mentioned, your organization, you and Horace. I got to give you guys, congratulations and thanks for working me on this. And it's a pleasure to be included in this book. I think one way that people should look at this, everybody that's in this book is an extension of Changing Lanes International. They are now part of the team. And everyone that is in there, whether it's John Lee Dumas, Greg Reiter, Kevin Harrington, love you, Kevin, see you next week or 2 weeks from now, is that they are all out there to help people. If there's value that they can bring at that point in time, then, we'll talk about some kind of contingency or by project. And people ask me, how can we continue working with each other and what do you charge? I don't have that conversation until probably 30 days or more once I feel that I've provided value to them. And I think once that comes out, then there's something to discuss either by project. But going back to the last point, if there's anything I want to throw in there at the last moment is basically I'm going to give my best piece of advice, and I write about it in the chapter. Guys, when I made the transition from salesperson to networker and man of the people, it was two different industries, and I just didn't want to just be a sales rep. I wanted to work with people, build relationships, and see what the bigger picture is. Keep my eye, looking at the long game while keeping my eye on the short game. And I sat down with one of my mentors. I call him my big brother. I'm his little brother. He's only a couple years older than me, David. And he said, I'll tell you the exact advice that my dad gave me, and he was a senior partner in a law firm, and he was the guy, like the business development guy for his firm, is that I will sit down with anybody that I don't feel is a waste of time, a waste of my time or a waste of your time. I'll sit down to learn about you, learn about your message, learn about your company, your products and services. If I'm able to introduce you or connect you with someone within my network, I will do everything I possibly can. And I'm happy doing it. If there's reciprocation from it, great. If there isn't, I'm no worse off. I helped another fellow human being. And that mindset took about 3 to 4 months to really be ingrained in me and for it to become genuine. And as soon as I took that mindset and actually implemented it, that's when my network and relationships really, tripled and quadrupled and really became the network that I'm so proud to have and the relationships that I've built over the years.
Awesome, man. And that speaks volumes about you right there. So everybody watching this, Elliot has taught us a lot. He's a client, he's become a friend. And Elliot, I hope to hang out with you. We're going to hopefully be down in Florida on the 29th, I believe, of December. doing some stuff with Kevin Harrington. So, we'll connect. And again, the cool thing is, when you build a business that you actually love doing, and the clients are cool like you and abundant like you, really it becomes a lifestyle, and it's so fun, like, to be able to travel and go hang out with clients and friends and, and do business together, maybe make money and pay for the trip along the way, and so Disruptive Sales is that, Zika is that, and we're proud to be part of what you're doing in the mission, and, anything we can do for you along the journey, we're here. So as we wrap up your time, make sure you change lanes safely today. And we appreciate everything that you've done for us, that you've done for the book. And, make sure that you continue just being abundant and serving the people, because it's fun to watch you. And even in the time we've known you, that the growth that you've had. So congratulations on everything. Yep. Excited to keep moving forward. And we'll be in touch soon, brother.
Yeah, you too, guys. And I'll be tuning in throughout the time to watch our other authors. So, I encourage everyone that's already watching it or that has watched mine to continue, because there's a lot of power players coming up. So thanks a lot, guys.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you.